Welcome to Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person. In this first lesson, we'll explore two important ways of thinking: holistic and partial perspectives. These ideas are not just philosophical terms. They shape the way we understand people, events, and the world around us. Let's begin this journey of deeper thinking together. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to clearly distinguish between a holistic and a partial point of view. You'll also gain insight into how the famous philosophers Plato and Aristotle approached the idea of reality. Most importantly, you'll reflect on how these philosophical ideas can help you in real life, and how you think, relate, and decide. Have you ever misunderstood someone because you didn't know the whole story? That's a common result of having a partial point of view. Our perspective, the way we see things, greatly affects our judgment and choices. Philosophy teaches us to ask questions and seek the bigger picture. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being open to discovering deeper truths. A holistic perspective means looking at the whole situation, not just parts of it. When we take a holistic view, we consider everything: the background, the relationships, the causes, and the context. For example, if a friend suddenly acts cold toward you, a holistic perspective urges you to ask, what's going on in their life? Are they stressed or hurt? This approach leads to better understanding and empathy. In contrast, a partial point of view focuses on only one piece of the puzzle. It's when we make assumptions based on limited information. Say someone makes a mistake. We might label them as careless without knowing the pressure they're under. This kind of thinking is common, but it often leads to misjudgment and unfair treatment. Philosophy helps us challenge this kind of shallow thinking. Let's meet Plato, one of the greatest thinkers of the ancient world. He lived in Greece during the 4th century BCE, was a student of Socrates, and later became the teacher of Aristotle. Plato founded the Academy in Athens, one of the first institutions of higher learning in the West. He believed that what we see in the world is only a shadow of a deeper reality, and that true knowledge comes from understanding the invisible truths behind what we see. Plato described two levels of reality. First, the physical world. This is the world we experience with our senses. It's always changing and full of imperfections. Second, the world of forms, a realm of perfect, unchanging ideas or concepts. For example, while there are many different chairs in the world, Plato believed they're all imperfect copies of the perfect idea or form of a chair. Understanding this perfect form is what he considered true knowledge. For Plato, appearances were never enough. He taught that wisdom comes from looking beyond what's obvious, seeking the forms or deeper truths. This is a very holistic approach. Plato didn't want us to stop at what something looks like or how it feels. He wanted us to understand its true essence and purpose. Plato believed that true knowledge comes not from what we see with our eyes, but from understanding the deeper, perfect truths behind everything. These perfect truths, which he called forms, exist beyond the physical world. Let's say you're looking at drawings of circles. One is lopsided, another is too wide, and one looks close to perfect, but none of them are truly perfect. Plato argued that while these drawings are all different, they are just imitations of the perfect idea of a circle, the form of a circle, which exists only in the mind. In the same way, people and situations in life might appear messy, incomplete, or confusing. But a holistic thinker like Plato asks, what is the deeper truth beneath all this? Instead of judging just what we see, we search for meaning, for the ideal that reality is trying to reflect. That's what it means to think holistically. Now let's take a look at Aristotle, Plato's most brilliant student. Unlike Plato, who believed in an ideal world beyond what we can see, Aristotle focused on the world right in front of us. For him, true understanding begins with what we can observe and study in everyday life. He introduced a powerful idea known as the four causes, a way of fully understanding something by looking at it from four angles. Material cause, what it's made of. Efficient cause, how it came to be. Formal cause, its structure or design. Final cause, its purpose or goal. Let's apply this to something simple, a tree. Its material cause is wood and bark. Its efficient cause might be the seed, sunlight, and water that made it grow. Its formal cause is what gives it the shape and identity of a tree. And its final cause is its purpose, maybe to provide oxygen, shade, or fruit. This is what Aristotle meant by a holistic approach, seeing not just one part of the thing, but understanding it completely by asking what it is, how it came to be, what it looks like, and what it's for. Aristotle also gave us one of the earliest ideas of truth. His correspondence theory of truth says that a statement is true if it matches reality. For example, if I say the tree has green leaves and the tree really does have green leaves, then the statement is true. But if it doesn't, the statement is false. It's simple but powerful. And this is where logic becomes important. Aristotle believed we should test our ideas through reason. Logic helps us avoid false conclusions and stay closer to the truth. If our thinking is clear and our statements reflect reality, then we are being truthful and rational. So in Aristotle's view, being holistic means going beyond first impressions, digging into the causes, using our senses and our reason, and checking that what we say about the world actually lines up with how the world really is. To make this easier to understand, imagine this. There's a student in class who always tries their best, but sometimes makes mistakes when reading out loud. If you judge them only based on one mistake, you might think they're not smart. But a holistic perspective would look deeper. Maybe they're nervous, or maybe they have a learning difficulty, or maybe they just had a bad day. Plato would say that what you're seeing is just a part of the truth, the surface. But the form of that student, their true potential, their desire to learn, their worth, is something deeper and more real. Instead of judging just the action, holistic thinking asks, what is the bigger truth behind what I see? That's the kind of deeper understanding that Plato encourages us to seek. Let's pause for a quick activity. Take a look at this situation. A student fails one test. Now, instead of making a quick judgment, let's approach this from a holistic point of view. That means we ask deeper questions. What might have affected their performance? Were they feeling well that day? Have they been performing well in other subjects? Are there personal challenges we don't know about? Now, I want you to try the same. Think of a real situation where someone might have been misunderstood or judged unfairly. Then describe how a holistic perspective would change the way we see that person. You can write it down, or we'll share a few aloud in class. Let's practice what it means to look at the whole picture before making conclusions. You can pause this video for a while until you're done writing your answer on a sheet of paper or maybe in the comment section. Take all the time you're needing to think through your answer. Now let's look at the same kind of situation, but through a different lens. A classmate is late once. From a partial point of view, someone might say, they're lazy or they don't care about class. But that ignores everything else. Maybe there was an emergency, a family issue, or they're usually on time and just had a rough morning. Here's your task now. Think of a time when you, or someone you know, was judged unfairly based on just one detail. What was assumed? What important context was left out? What might a more holistic view reveal? Again, take a moment to write it down or prepare to share. This is how we sharpen our awareness and start thinking like philosophers, with fairness, depth, and understanding. Again, you may pause this video and take your time writing your answer. Now, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever judged someone too quickly? What parts of their story didn't you know at the time? How might your thoughts or actions have changed if you saw the full picture? Philosophy is not just for reading. It's for living with more awareness and compassion. Let's review. A holistic perspective means looking at the whole, considering all factors before making a judgment. A partial perspective focuses on just one detail and often leads to errors. Plato encouraged us to seek the invisible truths beyond appearances, while Aristotle taught us to understand the world by studying how everything connects. Both philosophers valued deeper understanding, and that's what we're aiming for too. Thank you for joining this lesson. As we continue learning about the philosophy of the human person, keep asking questions and looking beyond the surface. In the next lesson, we'll dive deeper into what it means to be human, our nature, our purpose, and our potential. Until then, remember, Seeing the whole picture is the first step to wisdom.